Good afternoon, Speech Therapy Total family. So I am so excited today because I think this is for the very first time that I'm actually coming on at the time that I said I was going to come on. So I think I said 2 p.m. and it's 1 minute to 2 p.m. So hey, yesterday I was talking to a friend who said to me, "You're always running late." I'm like, yes, I know, but tomorrow I have a Facebook Live and that's another opportunity for me to try and make sure that I'm on time. So it's really not Kenyan time. It's just before. I was still trying to work out a lot of things, but now I have a new webcam. So in the past, my laptop's webcam wasn't working too well, but I've got a dedicated webcam now. If anybody is joining me live, I don't know if I'll be able to see. Last time I wasn't able to see. Please let me know if the volume is right. I can see, I think, one person that's already there. Or is that me? I don't know. So please just type and say, I can hear you clearly. I can see you clearly, because I also hope that my internet, Wi-Fi, let me just make sure actually that everything's good. So just let me know, and I will wait for, oh, how is it that it was 1:59 and now it's 2:01? I've not started talking. Okay, so I'll still wait to see the comment. Let me try and, okay. Sarah, please tell me if you can hear me clearly. And you tell me you can hear me clearly, I will get started. And that you can see me clearly as well. If this was a WhatsApp message, I'll be seeing typing. Yesterday, somebody was, well, actually, I thought all you could ever see was typing. But yesterday, I was chatting with somebody, and they said, I could see it was saying recording audio. I was like, oh, it actually tells you when you're recording audio as well. So, Sarah, can you hear me? Can you see me? Typing. Recording audio. Happy Eid to everyone that's celebrating Eid. I probably need, well done, thanks. So Sarah, I do need somebody to clarify for me, is it Eid Mubarak or is it Eid al-Fitr? Because I think I've used Eid al-Fitr when I was wishing everybody a happy Eid, but I'm seeing a lot of messages of Eid Mubarak. And some of them are saying Eid Mubarak and Eid al-Fitr on the same message. Okay, so today's Facebook Live is, oh, thanks, Monica. So today's Facebook Live is a very short one. I hope it will be a short one. I've been saying to myself, it's probably going to be about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, tops 20 minutes. And a lot of my staff did actually say, you need to answer this question, because it forms the bulk of the questions that we receive from parents. And the question is, how many speech therapy sessions will my child require, or to start talking or to start seeing results? So I thought, if that is a common question, then I might as well just come on here and address it. So, and I know I had said in the past that the Facebook Lives are going to be twice a month. I am really working really hard, and thank you so much for everyone that's been so gracious and not constantly reminding me why I keep dropping the ball on some things. So I'm hoping to make it more consistent. I've just been a little snowed under with our content that we are creating for various things. We have our YouTube channel that has a lot of videos there. We have our blog that has further information and a few more things. So today's, and the person who said I'm never on time, I can see they're on here. So please acknowledge that I actually started this Facebook Live on time today. So thank you for joining, Tony. Yeah, so today's topic, as I said, is how many speech therapy sessions does your child require for them to start seeing results or for them to start talking? I get this question a lot. And my very simple answer is, it's complicated. It's not as easy to respond to without having many disclaimers. So hopefully I can make that clear today as to, basically why it is that it needs very many disclaimers. So first and foremost, if you're seeking speech therapy services for your child for a particular reason, like presentation, so either they are late in talking, or possibly they are stammering or stuttering, or they have a medically diagnosed condition like autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, whatever, or they have a literacy disorder, reading disorder, what people like to refer to as dyslexia. I don't like that term, but I have explained it in one video why I don't prefer that term. But anyway, so you get the gist. So if you are seeking speech therapy services for your child for any one of those reasons, then that in itself is an indication that your speech therapist or your child's speech therapist would not be able to give you a definite response as to how many sessions your child will require, because all those or each of those presentations have their own individual processes, and also it depends on a lot of factors that are inherent to your child and a lot of factors that are inherent to you as a parent. And I say inherent to you as a parent, I guess that also encompasses the environment that the child is in. So because you determine those environments, if whatever school your child goes to, I guess that is determined by you as a parent, how your home environment is, whether it's conducive for getting your child to practice a lot of the concepts that are being targeted in the session. That is also dependent on you. So those two factors, so child related factors and family or circumstance related factors, so those they are different. So because they differ, you can't say definitively this child will require 10 sessions. So what are some child related factors? It could be the severity of the condition, so that they are presenting with. So if your child has a reading disorder, for example, dyslexia, and they are 13 years, they are 12 years, or they are 5 years, or they are 6, or they are 4. You can't really tell that there's a reading disorder at 4, really. You shouldn't. So that will help determine how many sessions your child will need to attend. So for the older child, and really for a lot of the presentations, the older the child, it means the more sessions the child will require, because the expectations for a 13-year-old child that is having a reading disorder are very different from the expectations of a 6-year-old child that is just at the beginning of their literacy journey. And so expectations are much lower. Yeah, the same with, say, a presentation or like stuttering. So stuttering has its own prognostic factors, so its own set of factors that would determine how quickly a child is able to manage a stutter, for example. So if your child is, one of the prognostic factors is the time of intervention vis-a-vis the time of onset of the stutter. So if you're seeking the services of a speech therapist because your child is stammering or stuttering, and you're seeking them, say, a month after your child starts to display signs of stuttering, then really that is best case scenario. So prognostically, your child is at a much better position to manage the stutter a lot quicker than a child who is, say, has been stuttering for 2 years, or a teenager that's been stuttering for 10 years, so very different presentations and factors for that child. So that child that has sought therapy services for their stuttering very soon after the onset of the stutter is definitely well placed to be able to manage the stutter quicker. What are the factors for, say, the stuttering example? Say if your child is, the severity of the stutter in itself also is a prognostic factor. How severe is the stutter? Is it quite mild? Are they just exhibiting a few characteristics of for their stutter? Are they just repeating, for example? Are they doing just one thing, or are they doing everything? Is it quite severe? That is also a prognostic factor. So there is a video about signs of stuttering and what you do if you notice that your child is stuttering. I think actually that's been posted onto our blog this week, and also on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. And if it's not yet on YouTube, it will soon be on YouTube. So you can have a look at that as well. So those are the factors that would determine my response to a parent that is wanting me to, or pin me down to, how many sessions would my child need to come for. And I mean, I do understand parents want to know, and some of like the parents I've encountered, I guess they want to also quantify the, I guess, the financial commitment, the time commitment as well, so that they know how they can plan. Because you can't just say, well, we don't know. And actually, for the example of children who stutter, I usually will say to parents, please don't pin me down. Don't even have me say or how many sessions your child, or predict how many sessions your child will require, because I have actually been wrong in the past, very wrong, where I have said, I think just because they were not prognostically, it was sounding, that situation was sounding like this will not take a long time, or this will take a long time, and I've gone and said, you know what, just give this amount of time allowance. And I have found that I have been very mistaken, because there are times when I have a child that is quite severe in their outlook of their stutter, for example, and I say to parents, please just give it at least 2 months. 2 months, you will definitely see results. And for that child, they come in 8 sessions, 8 sessions, and that child has managed to be stutter-free for a long duration of time. And then there are children who come in, who I see them and they are quite mild, they're just displaying 1 or 2 things, and I say to them, oh, I don't think this will take long, just come for a month. And really, in itself, I'm not even supposed to say come for a month. It's unethical for a speech therapist to say this is how long, to guarantee results in a specific, I usually say to parents, it's a ballpark figure, take it with a grain of salt. And for that child, say, that was displaying very mild features, 2 months later, they're still there. 3 months, they're still there. And I'm thinking, oh, I better, this is the reason why we are told never ever, be concrete about the number of days. And really, that demonstrates the what I've just said before, in that there are so many factors. So you might find that child that was quite mild in their stuttering had other say situational or circumstantial factors that were actually impacting negatively on the progress. And it could be the home environment is not ideal. Maybe there is some sort of, unsettlement or dysfunction that is also, compounding on the issue. So there are so many things that could be a factor. So let's go back to, if your child is, say, delayed in talking, and you want to see, you are seeking speech therapy services to get them to talk faster, or communicate better. Now, the factors there are definitely, some of them are similar to the stuttering example that I've just said, but a lot of them really are to do with the severity of the child's condition or presentation, how soon you have sought speech therapy. If you have sought speech therapy as early intervention, so early intervention is as soon as that concern started to become apparent. So as soon as you notice that your child is not combining words, as soon as you notice your child is not social, so that is early intervention. But really, truly, early intervention is below the age of 3. So if I see a child that is 2 years and is delayed in their talking, I feel very confident, just from my experience, our experience at the clinic, I usually feel very confident to say to that parent that I feel, like if they came these many sessions, then we should be able to help them manage or resolve the delays in this amount of time. I'll say a little bit more about that. So that this will be another factor. Yes, also severity, early intervention, and also how many sessions a week your child is attending speech therapy. So are they coming once a week, for example? Are they coming once a month, which I am so opposed to sessions being that far apart, because progress is very, very small. Are they coming twice a week? Are they coming 3 times a week? And really, who determines? I probably will have to shoot another video to explain why, what frequency of visit is ideal for what kind of presentation, in my experience. So if a child is below the age of 3, if a child is 2 years and 10 months, they're nearly 3. So we can't really capitalize on the critical brain development period where the brain is rapidly developing. I have shot a video that explains the importance of those early years for the brain and really for early intervention. So check out the videos. One of them is a free 3-part video series that can explain that. So those are the factors, yeah? So if a child is 2 years and 1 month, 2 years and 2 months, 2 years and 4 months, I feel so confident, and I really do try to encourage the parent to see the possibility of this child actually resolving the difficulty very quickly. And I mean, this is again another factor. I mean, that's the work I do with my families, that I really try to, you know, give them confidence, make them to really come on this journey fully commit to it, because I know if they fully commit to it, we will see the results. I see that. If you go, so these are factors to do, I guess, with the clinician, the speech therapist. So if you go to a speech therapist who is saying, oh, well, I'm not sure, maybe doesn't really go out and try and get the parent who probably is feeling very defeated and very, oh, I'm not quite sure that this is going to work. For me, I never have a doubt in my mind that I can manage, I can be able to resolve a child's difficulties. Most difficulties, if they're still within the critical brain development period, so under 3 years, and particularly at the lower end. So if a child is 2 years, I usually feel confident from our experience. I am not talking about other speech therapists here. From our experience, to say if a child comes consistently for 2 sessions, sometimes I will encourage a parent who I feel like the delays are a little bit moderately severe, that I say, I just know if they come 3 sessions a week, we can build momentum very quickly, and in 3 months we should be able to see results. I have seen it. I've seen it time and time and time again. So I usually feel confident to say, if you can come, your child is 2 years, 2 months, 3, 4, 5, you can come consistently 3 times. Like, if you can just make that sacrifice, come 3 times, you will see results in 3 months. But then I also know I can guarantee-ish, yeah, those results, because I'm also getting the parent on board. We normally, at our clinic, we will offer materials for parents to do the home practice. I spend a lot of time talking to parents about some of the things they can do at home to make the home environment conducive. If the child is going to school, to make that environment work for that child, to also just get the parent to feel very confident about really this is going to be, they are going to get the results that they want for their child. So with that in mind, I feel I can offer that assurity. Yeah? So shouldn't quote me for another speech therapist, but for our services, I say yes. And so that's another factor. So severity of the presentation, is it early intervention? How early an intervention? At what point during the first 3 years of life is the child coming to you? Is it when they're towards the end of the critical brain development period, or towards the beginning of it? The clinician, situation, I guess, factors. Are they getting materials for them to go? Are you able to get materials for your child to go and practice at home? And how often are they coming for sessions? So if your child is coming once a week, definitely outcomes are going to be delayed, perhaps, depending again on the other factors, the presentation, the severity, whatever. Are they coming twice a week? Are they coming 3 times a week? Do they have additional needs to also the communication needs? So what are additional needs? If your child has behavioral issues, so they can't settle, it might take longer. And usually for those parents, particularly if it's the early intervention group, I would say come more often, so that we build a quick momentum of the sessions quickly. We can build rapport. The child gets to be conditioned to be in the session, and it's all ideal. So that way we can say, okay, perhaps give it 3 months and you will definitely see results. Now, our circumstances in developing countries such as Kenya, which is an underserved country, are such that really these services come out of the parents' pocket. So I say to parents, particularly for children who have a developmental disorder, quite severe presentation, so autism, a lifelong condition like a syndrome, it is important that a parent understands that this might be quite long. the therapy that is required for your child might be quite long. And I understand, the cost implications obviously are there, but I advise parents at least come consistently for the first 6 months, even a year. Consistently could be twice a week, because I like to recommend twice a week. But also during that time, make sure that you are equipping or empowering yourself with the knowledge that you need to be able to recreate these kind of sessions at home. And I have tried to focus on getting parents empowered with the knowledge to actually continue to have this happen even when they stop coming for speech therapy at the clinic. So as I say to you, we offer materials. I'll probably show a few examples. So this is a material for, and we have levels. I'm not sure that all speech therapists do offer materials, but we do, and it is your right as a parent to ask your child's speech therapist, are there home materials that you can offer us so that we can continue the practice at home? And I say to parents, once you have the materials, then you can even have a much affordable solution, like having a shadow teacher, which is another factor. So I have children who make very fast progress, and you see really their circumstances were ensure that they would make the progress, because that child is coming consistently. Home environment is ideal. School environment, even if it's not ideal, the parent has afforded the services of a shadow teacher. The shadow teacher comes to the session, or sometimes the house help comes, or the nanny comes to our session, sees what it is we're doing, so they're in a much better position to replicate or continue reinforcing the targets at home. So that's a factor as well. So no two cases are ever the same. Even a child that is making progress, don't ever feel like, oh, how come that one made progress? You need to understand that there could be so many other related factors that made it possible for that child to make faster progress, or that are making it that are preventing your child from making the progress that you so desire. So these materials, I say to parents, learn. And I, more than just giving the materials, I usually like to write. I think I'm a talker, I'm a writer. I like, so we have like a hierarchy at our clinic. For a child that is not talking, there's materials that is suitable for them. So this is just something I devised, materials that is suitable for them for when they're still learning to get the skills that will help them now start to talk. So we have a file that is pre-verbal 1, then pre-verbal 2. This one actually is pre-verbal 3. This child is so far advanced, and then we have verbal 1. So it gets more complex and whatnot. And I also like to explain to parents, so this is the reason why we are working on this thing. So I will do a write-up for any parent that just say, I want to know for myself. I want to know because one day I might not be able to access speech therapy for my child. So how do I know? How do I empower the people? So like here we have nursery rhymes, and it's quite interactive. I explain why they're important. There's materials, there's things for matching, there's flashcards. I don't think this is fully complete, but you get the point. So this one is for a child that obviously their difficulty is language related. I have files for all kinds of presentations. So this is for a child that is stammering, and again I give an explanation for why we are doing what we are doing. Just little, this is what they can expect and some of the things they can start to do at home. There's one for articulation, there's one for literacy, so reading, writing, and spelling. There's one for dyspraxia, so muscle difficulty with positioning articulators in the right position to be able to make sound and whatever. So that, I guess, becomes a factor. So at our clinic, we do offer these. If your child doesn't have them, please, you need to ask your therapist, because they're there. We only charge for the copying and laminating and whatnot. Then you have that. Then you have it to keep, so you never bring it back. You only bring it to your sessions consistently. So I think that should answer that question. As I said, some of the family-related factors could be how conducive the environment is, how conducive if the child is going to school, how conducive the school environment is, how empowered and how knowledgeable and how capable are the caregivers that are helping you look after your child, so your nanny, your house help, whatnot. Are there any associated issues or factors or conditions? So do they have behavioral issues? Do they have attention deficit issues? Do they have medical issues that really might play out or impact on the progress. So very quick answer, but with that disclaimer, is that if your child is below 3 years of age, we can guarantee at our clinic, I can tell you we do guarantee-ish, assure, unethical for me to say guarantee, yeah? So you understand what I mean here. So we can assure progress, fast progress for children who are below the age of 3. I should say 2 to 2.5, 8 months, 2 to 8 months. 2 to 11 is already 3, but even for a child that comes in older, who is much older, we will still be able to get them the progress. I mean, it's like if you didn't do anything about it, you can expect that your child's presentation probably get worse or will stay the same, yeah? So if they're coming for speech therapy, even if they're coming when they're older, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we cannot assure that we'll be able to resolve the issues, help your child be able to close the gap between where they're at and where they're supposed to be. We can't guarantee that, we can't assure that, but we will say they will definitely be improved. Yeah, how much more improved depends on all the factors that I talked about. But if a child is 2.5 to 2 to 8 months, usually we sort of can ensure or assure that the child will be able to resolve those issues and be able to bridge that gap. Yeah, and then for conditions where the child is quite severe, we say to parents, empower yourselves, get to know as much as you need to know, so that even when it gets to a point where you no longer can access speech therapy, you are empowered enough to be able to continue to provide some kind of therapy, some kind of speech therapy on your own at home, with a shadow teacher, whatever. And really, this knowledge also helps equip you with, you're then able to even you're able to understand your child's therapist's goals and how relevant they are to your child's needs. So it's really good to be empowered, and really that has been the focus that I have been on, to get parents to be empowered. Is there anything else that I need to target? I feel like I have talked about it all. I also always talk to parents about their own feelings, really their own expectations for their children. So their mindset, I really like to focus on mindset as well, because I have seen parents who come in and are so determined, and they're the ones who readily are asking, do we have materials? What else can we do? And they take on board things that I say to them, and you can see they really want to learn for the sake of learning, and being able to also be an agent of change for their child. And these parents, their children always make fast progress. Always. And these parents, usually, this is very biased. It's not really biased, it's from experience, but this is very sexist. I know how it sounds. Usually it is the mother's commitment to seeing their child thrive. There's no mother that doesn't want to see their child thrive, but there are mothers who probably just feel defeated, or parents who feel defeated. I'm not sure, I was told by this specialist or told by this other specialist it's not going to be possible. And I'm like, you can choose to believe that, or you can choose to believe that your child is different, your child is unique, they're their own person. And yes, the specialist might have had their own reason for saying that this is not possible for your child, but if you decide, I am not going to believe that is not possible, and I believe this outcome is possible for them, it means you'll do everything possible to make sure that your child is given the opportunity to thrive and optimize their potential. So I say to parents, if your expectation for your child is here, and that expectation isn't like, oh, I don't want my child to succeed. It's never ever like that. It's usually like, we've been told by this person, we're told by this person. So you inadvertently, without realizing, without voicing it, you have such a low expectation. So even when your child is misbehaving, for example, you think, oh, we can't do anything about it. And there's a parent who says, no, you're going to behave how everybody else is behaving. Your brother and sister are behaving like this. I expect nothing less from you because you have this situation or this presentation. So if your expectation is here, your child, if they exceed it, they'll come there. Yeah. If you have such a high expectation, your child, even if they're not able to exceed it, they come here. Can you see how that is much higher than here? So a lot of it really is to do with parents as well, their mindset and their preparedness to see this process through. That also is a huge factor that really sometimes you can't quantify, but you see the difference. You see the difference between parents who are really committed, really there, they will come consistently, and their children make very fast progress. So there you have it. If you're in a developing country and you feel like your child's needs are quite severe, focus on speech therapy being a time for you to empower yourself, learn as much as you can, help the system along so that you can get faster progress. A child that is below the age of 2 years, 8 months-ish, and generally you should be able to resolve those issues. That's why it's called early intervention. That's why the world over, the developed countries they're just drumming in support for early intervention. So then that is when you need to invest the time, and the learning as well. And for older children as well, as I said to you, there's no hard and fast rule as to how many sessions. Any speech therapist that tells you without, like concretely, like your child needs to come to 8 sessions and your child will be, that is unethical, that is not really fair for you, because as I said, there are so many other related factors. So I really hope that I have answered that question. And parents who have been asking about how many sessions does my child need, they understand just how ambiguous the question is, because there are so many other factors that are related. So thank you so much for staying on, for it's a public holiday. It's here, I think everywhere. So happy Eid to everyone that's celebrating. And if you have any questions, pop them there and I will do my best to answer them. Check out our blog, Speech Therapy Total. If you go to our site, speechtherapytotals.com, you can go to the blog. There's so many topics there that I've covered that will also just help answer this question that I'm tackling today. On our YouTube site, if you haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe and hit the notification bell. Then you'll get to know when we post something, because we are always posting, I think, once a week or twice a week. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of today. It's quite cold here in Nairobi, and my house, we are all home, but I'm actually impressed that I've not had mama, because normally they're coming and here. So we're all here and enjoying the day. So thank you. Asanteni sana. Cheers.